Well, good morning, everyone. It's so nice to sit with everybody each week. It just brings me such joy. So the talk this morning is called 10,000 and Holding. This is an opportunity to explore the spiritual plateau. And so there is a plateau, it seems, to just about any kind of endeavor. If you are an athlete, then you are aware that as you are engaged in a vigorous activity, there comes a point in the activity. And just a few moments before that point, the urge to stop or to rest or that's enough is the strongest. And if you push through that, and I'm not talking about, damaging your body or, working out so hard that you make yourself sick or in pain. I'm talking about just that point where between not working out hard enough or working out too hard. For example, in yoga, it does such a great job with this because you'll hold a particular pose and there's a point, 2 or 3 breaths into the pose where you're like, okay, that's enough. And the yogi seems to just know, okay, 2 more breaths, just give us 2 more breaths to push through this. What a great teaching and a great lesson this is, because it helps us to bring a certain amount of understanding and a new relationship to, in this case, physical pain. But it sets up a template for us for spiritual and emotional pain. If you are a musician, a writer, or an artist, there is that point where the urge to do something other than practice your scales or to color blend or to write your weekly blog is the strongest. But if you're able to push through that, then there is a progression of the art. There's a new understanding and a new relationship with this form of expression that one can achieve. And so the talk today is not so much about discipline as it is one of the steps on the Noble Eightfold Path known as wise effort. Wise effort. And wise effort is not so much about making or changing the way the world is, as much as wise effort is about the effort to understand the nature of existence, the nature of life, the nature of mind and body. So let's apply this then to our spiritual practice. There is a point in our practice when things seem like they are going pretty well. We're trotting down the path, we've got our mala beads, we've got a stack of books by all the great masters lining the shelves. I've got my Headspace app queued up and ready to go. And things are just cruising along great. And this is the point that I want to talk about. You see, at this point when things seem to be, hey, yeah, life's pretty good here. This begs the spiritual question, the deeper question, are you trying to wake up or are you trying to feel better? It's not that books and beads and Buddhas and Headspace apps, all these kinds of things are bad or wrong. They're not. But it's about the intention underneath the striving to acquire. It's about the intention underneath the striving to acquire. See, Krishnamurti said that it is truth that liberates, not our efforts to be free. If we are still looking out there, if we're still accumulating the next book, the next magazine, the next video, the next app, the next cool set of mala beads, the next Buddha statue, something that if we can notice the intention underneath, that somehow this next thing is going to bring me so much closer to awakening, to liberation. It's an outward focus. And it doesn't just stop with apps and Buddhas. It can be cars, jobs, relationships, clothing, religion. If we're still looking out there, then we are not mindful of the intention, of the feeling that we get. Let's call it a hit. Oh, this retreat, it's $3,000 and I get to sit with Adyashanti in California, you know, in this really cool retreat place. Boy, this is going to wake me up. This is going to be it. My teacher used to tease me and say, if you have to go to India to get enlightened, then you have to go to India to get enlightened. It's not out there. The Buddha said you have everything you need right here and right now to wake up. Matthew Flickstein used to say that we're all like little birds that have flown into a cherry tree. And right before we're about ready to devour this delicious, ripe, juicy-looking cherry, we see another one right there. Oh, that one's better. Oh, look at this one. Oh, and we never really experience a cherry because we're moving on to the next thing and the next thing. If you'll notice, during mindful eating, we do this when we eat. We've got the fork full before we've finished the current bite that we're working on. This is our way, just constantly on to the next thing. The Dalai Lama was very clear when he talked about this. He said, you can come and sit with me under the actual Bodhi tree in India with all the greatest lamas of the world, and you've got the sacred meditations and the sacred mantras and the blessed beads, and you have all these things, and it will do you no good if you don't practice. It's about your commitment and your intention to practice, to wake up, to be present in this moment. Not, oh boy, next week I'm going to go to Sedona and I'm going to sit in the beautiful mountain areas and I'm going to wake up. That's going to be it. Notice, like the little bird in the cherry tree, there's always some little thing in the near or distant future that's going to do it. And we're never present. And so this plateau, and I've experienced it often, life just starts getting really easy, really good. And there's this tendency to just kind of relax and let your guard down. It's like, all right, I'm there. Until boom, life happens. And we have an experience. I shouldn't laugh. While I was writing this talk last night, many of you are familiar with these medians out front here on 47th Street in the front of the church. And these medians are a foot high. And it's almost, I shudder to say weekly, that a car hits those. And last night I was writing this, and a van hit that, and it just took the whole left wheel right out. And I heard it, I knew that sound, nobody was injured or hurt, but the vehicle was completely and utterly disabled, maybe even total, I'm not sure. And I stopped, and I just did Tong Len. But see, life just shows up. And then, if our practice is not current, if we're not working, if we're not walking the path and working it, then it catches us off guard. The death of a loved one, a pet, a divorce. You you're trolling along in the plaza and suddenly your van is disabled. And it's not good, bad, or right or wrong that that happens. It's just the invitation here is to not let your guard down. Push through this little plateau of complacency where everything is coming up roses. Because as the Buddha said, this too shall pass. And the cycle of 10,000 joys and 10,000 sorrows will show up. And it's not about riding these things as much as it is the desire to wake up. The Buddha said that the only skillful desire is the desire to wake up, to achieve enlightenment. And so, with this, Jack Kornfield has, I think, an excellent teaching on the 4 elements of wise effort. The 4 elements of wise effort. And Karen, I'm going to have you flip the slide because I added it here on the back. So the first aspect of wise effort is to abandon fear, to abandon greed, hatred, and delusion. And he used the word abandon, not release, because even in releasing there is a doing, there's a letting go. But to abandon is to simply turn and walk away. It doesn't mean that you don't notice them. We're not suppressing them. We're not hiding them. We're not running from them. We're just notice it. Be aware of it. Ah, this is fear I'm feeling. Or perhaps there's a craving. Amazon Prime is great for that. Man, I can feel it. I still like to shop on it. But I take a moment and go, whoa, can you feel that? Want. So many cool things. Every page is filled with new cherries. And so, to abandon fear, greed, hatred, and delusion, it's not judging yourself for having these feelings as they arise, and it's not resisting them. It's simply being aware of them. Also, in abandoning fear, greed, and hatred, it's learning a skillful means to not be caught up when they show up, when they arise. A skillful means to be not caught up when they arise. For me, this can manifest as perhaps first noticing it. Oh, I was with my mom yesterday, took her to the mall, and she had a moment that was a little bit strange, and I could feel fear arise in me. I noticed it. I allowed it to be here. I didn't fight it. I didn't resist it. I investigated it. Where does fear show up in my body? What does it feel like? Is it solid? Is it soft? Does it pulse? Does it vibrate? There was an investigation. And then there was a non-identification. If I can be aware of fear, then I'm not afraid. Who I really am cannot be afraid. But I can sense and be aware that fear is arising in the form, in the body. Number 2, maintain their absence. How do we maintain the absence of fear, greed, hatred, delusion? Again, simply aware. Become aware of their visit. Ah, they've shown up. They've come knocking at the door to come and have tea with you. Drop into the body, experience it. Watch out, because the mind is going to want to generate all these stories, all these judgments, all this blame, all this story making about fear, about an anger, about a hatred, about a craving. Oh, I really need that cool new steam cleaner right there on page 3 of Amazon. Oh yeah, there's 30 reasons why I need it. And then once I buy it, there's 30 reasons why I shouldn't have spent that money. Sound familiar? And that's the battle that's raging inside of us. But simply to become aware of it is enough. Become aware of it and release. Purify it. Discover why it is that I needed this thing. What was the need? The neediness. Purify that need. And then if you still want the item, you can get it. It's not what we do, it's the quality of the doing. If there's a grasping, then that's a fertile ground for practice. There's something bubbling up there. Otherwise, fear, greed, hatred, and delusion wouldn't have shown up. They're messengers to point something out to us. Number 3, cultivate skillfulness. Cultivate skillfulness. Meditation, mindfulness. I'd like to read a little section from Jack Kornfield on this very topic. So it's the effort of learning how to cultivate or generate that which is skillful, which means awareness, loving kindness, or caring for the world around you, or living more in the present moment. The effort to abandon the habits, the fears of things that we get caught in that create suffering, that keeps us in the muck, and the effort to sustain them. This is a wonderful teaching that can apply very much to our daily lives. It's the small habits. It's all the little pieces. Our life is made up of little activities, little habits and little ways. And we can begin to work with the way, for example, we drive our car, the way we relate to people at work, the way we eat, what we choose to eat, and how we set about eating, to make these things more conscious, renewing our intention to wake up. Just because things are good doesn't mean we're done, doesn't mean we're there. As long as we have a human form, there will be opportunities to practice, opportunities to wake up. We're not human beings having these occasional spiritual experiences that feel good and are nice. It's the other way around. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. And finally, number 4, maintain a skillful state. As we practice, as we introspect, investigate, come at life with a playful curiosity. What does each experience have to show us, have to teach us, all the way from the joyous ones to the most painful ones? What is it that they are bringing for us to explore? What new doorway to waking up are they opening for us? When we stabilize in this vibration, then all the little gizmos and the mala beads and the books and the videos and the retreats are nothing more than books, videos, mala beads, retreats. It's okay to have them, it's okay to incorporate them, but to the degree that you need them, that you're seeking them, that you must have them, is a degree of suffering. And to that degree, we're not mindful of what's underneath it. So the invitation today is to renew your commitment, renew your intention to wake up. Can you notice if you have reached a plateau and things are just good? I'm just going to leave it there. Just stop right there. Or can you push through just a little bit further, just a little bit farther, to stay on the edge of your practice and be aware of what's coming up? What does complacency feel like? Where does it show up in the body? Can you sense that little waiting for the shoe to drop, for some life experience to suddenly show up and knock us off our cushion? Or when those things arise, as Eckhart Tolle says, can you cultivate the state of being that actually requested this experience? I've mentioned before that there's a group of monks in an order somewhere in Asia that wake up every morning and pray for just enough suffering to wake up. So I want to close with, as I was writing the talk last night, a poem showed up. I think I was channeling Dr. Seuss. Goes like this. He looked at the old man with an arrogant smirk. Where is your house, your stocks, your pension from work? Where's your beamer, your exotic trips with beautiful wife? Have you nothing to show for 70 years of life? And as he shook his head and turned to leave, the old man touched his designer's sleeve. Where is your peace, kind and gentle way? Where is love, laughter, and time to play? Where is your calm and compassionate deed? No, there is nothing I feel I need. No answers to solve life's endless riddle. It's not that you have so much, it's that you have so little.